If you think Yuta should be the MC instead of Yuji, you don't like JJK. It's simple as that in my opinion, because the plot completely differs if we were to see the story through Yuta's eyes. In this video I'll be saying why Yuta being the MC over Yuji is stupid. So firstly, Yuta and why I think Yuta being the MC is stupid. In terms of the growth we look for in our main character, Yuta has already gone through his main struggles in Jujutsu Kaisen 0. He accepted his current life, came in terms with his consequences with making Rika, found the resolve to kill Geto, and it began to be accepted by his peers around him. Now we fast forward to the modern day CUlling games and Yuta is saying he wants to kill Kenjaku. Now let's compare this to our actual MC in Yuji. His character arc in my opinion is far more interesting because his story is different. Start of the story is Yuji being exterminated and his whole purpose is to die. Even though the Yuji extermination plot has become more obsolete, the danger and growth for his character is heightened with his motivations and dynamic with Sukuna. He has a grounded approach. He's humbled a lot, which is far different to some of the more traditional MCs. This is why the fight against Mahito was amazing, because it showed and highlighted the parallels between our antagonist and MC that I don't think could be shown with Yuta currently with 1, his strength, and 2, his character arc has nothing to suggest he needs that type of growth. The thing is, before the fight against Mahito, we could see that Yuji had weak resolve and was naive. And Mahito showed the flaw in his main ideology, which made for some of the most hard-hitting moments for our main character. It got him to reflect on everything that he's been doing and get to a point where he reflected his whole life and saying, why should I be alive? The fact that we're going through a whole story which is looking for a potential MC that is looking to die from the first instance, and now we're getting to a point where even though that plot line isn't necessarily the strongest, it's still a very overarching plot, and it's why somebody such as Yuta couldn't be the MC, because that weight is not going to happen. Moreover, I think the fact that, and legit with the way in Yuji accepting that he is a cog in the system, this is the exact same thing in which we as the audience see JJK in. We see Yuji's perspective and we are looking at the story through his eyes. It's why when we get to the part where Yuji can be taken out of the story for, if I'm correct, it's been a year now, and we can look at other different characters and still not feel as if we miss Yuji too much, because we know how he's integral to the whole story of Jujutsu Kaisen. Compared to Yuta, and his character arcs are very similar to him and his main motivations. Yuji's motivations coincide directly with Jujutsu Kaisen and with other big characters. Compared to Yuta, even though he wants to kill Kenjaku and these are big people in our antagonists, his character arc and stuff doesn't align with the way in which JJK is going. In terms of a regular MC, Yuta already has those comparisons. He's already, like I said, been accepted. He's already had his character growth, where now his strength and stuff is on par that if there's any problem, people are looking to Yuta to solve it. So in terms of what you would expect from your traditional MC, Yuta has done that in that regard, but opinion, like I said, he's been heightened to the fact because we have an MC such as Yuji. We see the struggles such Yuji gets, and it's why when he has his dynamics between different people, I just don't believe Yuta has that dynamic to push the story and make it as captivating as it has. Moments such as with Higuruma and how his character development helped with Itadori, and even though Itadori has begun to grow and become one of my favorite character development, he still has a long way to go in terms of recovery from his overall trauma. Finally, I want to go to the main story, and what I said with the fact that you don't like JJK if you want Yuta to be the MC. So for example, if we go to the biggest arc which is completed right now being Shibuya, how can Shibuya happen if Yuta is our MC? Yuta went to Africa. If the biggest arc that just happened in the story and our main character was not involved, people would complain that Yuta wasn't involved. We're now going to say that Yuta is in Shibuya. Shibuya goes completely different because of the strength gap that Yuta has. Now we can infer that Geige can just give everyone a power boost, but this is changing too much of what is already a very well intricate story. It seems as if making Yuta the MC completely changes the dynamic of the story, and I'm completely surprised why a lot of people argue this sentiment. Yuta is my favorite character, but having him as the main character doesn't do anything to make JJK better. And it's why, and this is going to be my final point in conclusion, to the people who want Yuta to be the MC, what does it change in JJK? Does it make the story better? Because at this moment of time, nothing that we can insinuate will make the story better. Do we get even more character development from a more interesting character? No, because in my opinion, Yuji is the more interesting character. He has so many more things to solve, so many more dynamics with people which are just important towards the story. How can Yuta be a better position to be the main character? It doesn't make sense. And this is going to conclude with everything. I mean, at the end of the day, it's interesting to me that people think Yuta should be the MC, especially with the way in which JJK has gone. I think as if you've only watched season 1 and the movie, maybe I understand your POV, but I think especially for those who are caught up, I think it's a terrible, terrible take. And in my opinion, it's one of the worst takes because Yuji is what makes Jujutsu Kaisen. But if you enjoyed this video, and let me know your guys' thoughts, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and thank you guys for watching.